Hey everyone, today onwards I'm gonna start a playlist on memorizing the Bible verses. So in order to get this, in order to get or to make this video available to everyone all around the earth, I'm going to record these sessions in English. So hopefully you will all like these videos. Okay, I'm gonna start. Today we're gonna study Isaiah 40 verses 12. So if I need to improve anything, please do comment below so that I could improve it. Okay, based on your suggestions. Okay, we're gonna start our session, and I'm using NKJV. Okay, so our Bible verse is Isaiah 40 verses 12. So I'm using images so that you will not forget, because images will give us more memory. Okay, so I'm going to teach you these Bible verses by showing the images. So can we just start our session? Okay, and firstly I will read the Bible verse, and after that I will show images and will explain to you what those images means, and those images will be helpful to you to learn the Bible verse much more easier and much more quicker. So can we just step into the video? So the first sentence of the verse is, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? So the writer Isaiah is saying, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. This means that our God has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. That means that Isaiah is describing God's sovereignty or his power. So you did understand, right, what the sentence of this verse means, right? So it means that he has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. So look at this picture and make it and understand the first sentence, that is, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. So the first thing that will come into your mind is this picture, so that you will not forget when you move on with other sentences of this verse. So understand this firstly, that is, he has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand. And what is the sentence in the Bible? Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? So you understood, right? The first sentence, that is, who has measured the waters? Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? So hollow means this part. Okay. So this picture is symbolizing, or this picture is showing God's hands, but it's not the real God's hands. But still, this picture is more understandable, so that you can understand and you can memorize the sentence much more easier. That is, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? And the next picture is, measured heaven with a span. And here the span means the breadth of his hands. That means the breadth of God's hands. So he has measured the heavens and the breadth of his hands. So in this sentence of the verse, just keep in your mind this picture. Okay, so that means the first picture was, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and the next sentence was, measured heaven with a span. Here the picture is not of the heaven, but still you can understand it, right? So after the sentence, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, the next picture should come into your mind should be this. That means measured heaven with a span. So firstly, who has measured the waters with the hollow of his hand? Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand? Measured heaven with a span. Okay, so here it will be measured heaven with a span. Okay, this is what I mean with this picture. So this picture should come into your mind after the hollow of his hand picture. Okay, the next picture is somewhat like a sand, or it means you are in a desert or something. So this picture signifies the sentence, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure. And it's a question mark, okay? So, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure. So you have calculated the dust of the earth, okay? So imagine this as the dust of the earth, and there is nothing to imagine because the picture itself shows the dust of the earth. So you just learn the sentence, that is, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure. This measure means something like, scale or something, which measures the amount of dust. So there is no one in this world who can measure dust, right? But God can measure the dust of the earth. So this next is, and calculate the dust of the earth in a measure, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure. So we have learned who has measured the waters in the whole of his hand, and measured heaven with a span. The next is, and calculate the dust of the earth with a measure, in a measure. Okay, and calculate the dust of the earth in a measure. The next one, just ignore who is, just ignore the person who is doing being such things, and just look onto the picture. That means, weighed the mountains in scales. That is the sentence that you're gonna learn from this picture. That is, weighed the mountains in scales. Weighed the mountains in scales. So here it is showing a scale which measures the things. So here it means that weighed the mountains in scales. So he weighed the mountains in scales. So what we have just learned, who has measured the waters with the hollow of his hand, who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, measured the heavens with a span, measured the heaven with a span, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure, and calculated the dust of the earth in a measure, then and weighed the mountains in scales. And the next sentence is very simple, that is, and the hills in a balance. So that you need to keep it in your mind and just memorize it. That means, weigh the mountains in scales and the hills in a balance, and after that is a question mark. There is none other than God. So firstly, before memorizing this mountains and hills, just look at the differences between the hills and mountains. So you can see what is a hill and what is a mountain, and there is no need to explain because we are not studying about any science or something, but you can understand what is the difference between the hills and mountains. And so we have memorized our verse. Can we just repeat the verse? Who has measured the waters with the hollow of his hand, and the heavens with a span, measured heavens with a span, and calculate the dust of the earth in a measure, weigh the mountains in scales and hills in a balance. Thank you for listening to my session, and hopefully you have studied this verse, and please improve and just understand this verse once again and glorify God for who he is. And let's learn the Bible verses together in further videos. Thank you.